Hello, 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 my peeps. It is Thursday and a new episode of Chit Chat with Bernie Bella. I'm your host, Bernadine. Oh no, Chattings with Bernie. Why am I going back to the old name? Chattings with Bernie. I'm your host, Bernadine, and welcome to episode 40. Chugging along one episode at a time. So let me know if you can hear me clearly. Drop a comment, say hello, share the live. And let's get chatting. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. We stream live Thursdays at 9 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Hey, Colleen, how are you? Can you hear me? I see you checking in. Can you hear me? A few of the topics we'll be discussing tonight is Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, the trial. We're going to do a little bit of recap. Been listening to that all week. The death of Sanchez's son, Naomi Judd, died. Chyna's defamation lawsuit, a little bit of the Met Gala fashions, and suchins and suchins. Previous episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, so visit the site, like, comment, subscribe, and set your notifications to get notified when we go live. Oh, you can hear me, that's awesome. Hope you had a good week so far. So this is a talk show where we discuss current affairs, entertainment, gossip, politics, a little bit of sports, a little bit of everything specific to our local community here in Canada and Jamaica, with a bit of the world thrown in. So your thoughts and opinions are always welcome. So as usual, we are going to start with our entertainment section, and we're starting off with report on the passing of Naomi Judd. She passed away last Saturday. When her daughters made the announcement of her death, they stated that they lost their mom to the disease of mental illness. However, it has since been reported that Naomi died as a result of suicide. She was also battling hepatitis C for some years, and it was reported that she's been depressed over the years because of her various illnesses, and apparently committed suicide because of that. So it's hard when a parent dies, so you lose the family members, especially hard when they die because they kill themselves. So our condolences to the Judd family, to Winona and oh God, Ashley. Ashley's the other daughter. So that's that. So we're going to move on to the blacchyna trial. That concluded earlier this week with her losing her defamation case against the Kardashians. So she was suing them for defamation and intentional interference with her contract at E. And on Monday, a judge at the Stanley Moss Courthouse in Los Angeles ruled that the Kardashian Jenner family were cleared of all the key questions. No monetary damages were awarded to Chyna, and there's been a lot of going back and forth, and during the case a lot came out that Chyna was abusing Rob, and that when Rob was with her, he was at his lowest point, and all of that stuff. And he probably would not have gotten in with her if he was in his right mind and all of that kind of stuff. But a lot have come out of that. They do have a child together. I think the child is about 4 or 5 right about now. So a lot came up, but at the end of the day, Chyna lost her case against them. So no damages, no monies to be had. And that particular situation is over. So this former star of Toddlers and Tiara, Kayla Posey, she died earlier this week. Her mom posted on, I think it was on Facebook, that her baby girl is gone, and they're mourning the loss of Kayla or Kalia. And again, she did not share how her daughter died, but it has since been released or been posted or been outlined in the media that Posey killed herself at age 16. So that's very hard for a mother to take. You know, that's a choice that her daughter made to take her own life. So again, condolences to that family. Moving on to Sanchez, who is a veteran entertainment reggae Jamaican reggae artist. Um, he's still mourning the passing of his mother, and he's also now has to deal with the killing of his son. So his mother passed recently from cancer. She was buried last Saturday. And last Saturday, his son was one of three men who were killed in the Bedward Gardens area in Jamaica. So while he was burying his mother, his son, the irony of it is that his son died on the same day. So he now has a double tragedy to deal with, with his mother and his son. So he needs a lot of prayers, a lot of sympathies, condolences. He'll need a lot of strength right now to get through this particular difficult time. And, at most, we just have to send prayers for him. So we're going to touch briefly on the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. Now, for those who were not following, for those who haven't been watching, it's a lot. It is a lot. So the things that are coming out right now with these stories. So last week, when Depp was on when Johnny was on the witness stand, he talked about how Amber got back at him by defecating on the bed and all the things that she did to him, and she abused him. Well, Amber was on the witness stand for half of yesterday and all day today. And I want to believe when somebody say that they're being abused by their domestic partner. I want to believe when they ask for help. I want to believe that what they're saying is true. But when you're listening to what Amber is saying, and when you're listening to the things that she said was done to her, and then the things that she has done in the aftermath of the abuse that she's getting, everything isn't adding up. Everything isn't adding up. For one point, she said that he hit her so hard he broke her nose. But in that instance, she still had the wherewithal. She still had, she still was able to get up, put on makeup, fix herself, and do a TV interview the next day with no semblance of, no showings that she was, she had a broken nose or anything of that nature. She stated that she was physically hit and injured and was able to, she passed out, and the next day she woke up and walked through glass to make coffee. There's no showing off the cuts on her foot or the bruises and stuff. She did a lot of recording and she did take a lot of pictures, but what's lacking is the pictures that would have shown when she was badly bruised or badly hit, to show the bruise and all of that. So like I said, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to listen to, but all of the stuff aren't adding up. The data analyst guy was on as well earlier this week, showing that Johnny's popularity dropped because of the article that was written by Amber. They're also trying to say that Amber did not write the article, and actually that's why she's being sued. Um, Johnny's ex-agent also said that Johnny lost about $22.5 million by not being able to do the final chapter of Pirates of the Caribbean. So all of that is coming out right now. It's been a weird week. There's some wins for Johnny, some wins for Amber, but there's some parts of it where it seems as if Amber's kind of crying for the camera, or making sure the camera has a good look, or some things that she's doing is just not adding up. Also, her psychologist was on Tuesday and half of Wednesday, and unlike Johnny's psychologist, when Johnny's psychologist was on, she talked about domestic violence in general and how it affects people in general. Amber's psychologist is specific to how she's talking about mostly how it's men that are the perpetrators of domestic violence and women are always the victims. So in her speaks and in her testimony, she made it seem as if men are very rarely, if ever, victims of domestic violence, where that's not the case. There are a lot of men that are being abused. There are a lot of men that are victim of domestic violence, but because they get ridiculed for being victims of domestic violence, a lot of men do not come out and talk about it. A lot of men do not come out and let it be known. They do suffer in silence. They do take their abuse and shut up because that's what society requires from them. So it's a lot to unpack in this particular trial. It's a lot that's going on. They're on hiatus now for about 10 days, so they're back around about the 18th or the 19th, because the judge has to be away for a little bit. So there won't be a recap next week because there won't be anything to recap, but I'll pick it up in the following week and stuff. So that's just my little thing on Johnny and Amber Heard's trial right now. So if you've just joined, say hello, say hi. Don't be shy. Let me know what's happening in your world. Drop a comment and all of that. So I'm going to touch on the fashions of the Met Gala. It was on Monday, and the theme for this year was Gilded Glamour. So on screen, there's Kim Kardashian. And fun fact about Kim Kardashian is that she's wearing the dress that Marilyn Monroe wore when she sang Happy Birthday to President John F. Kennedy 60 years ago. Apparently, Kim tried on the dress. It didn't fit, so she went and lost 15 to 16 pounds in 3 weeks so that she could fit the dress. But there's some writings that the white coat that she has covering it is to cover the fact that the zipper did not zip all the way up. So, it's interesting and all of that. There's some museum curators who are not very happy with the fact that she got to wear that dress, because they're saying that it's an iconic dress and she could wreck the dress and all of that stuff. So, it's quite interesting. Sorry, Jessica Parker, as usual, hit it out of the park. Lizzo was on point with her dress. Hey, Derek, how are you? Thanks for checking in. We have Tiana Taylor in her purple flowies. And then, to show a little bit of her makeup and all of that stuff. We have Jordan Roth. Haven't got a clue who he is. And we've got Precious Lee. Then moving on, we've got Canadian Shawn Mendes. He was compared to, I think, one of the toy soldiers. We've got Venus Williams, she didn't do much with the theme. We've got Winnie Harlow again. I always wonder how people sit in those or pee in those or, all of that kind of stuff. I always wonder about that because that's just a little bit too much. But this I liked. I liked Alicia Key's dress and her husband's outfit. It was their ode to New York. So her dress and the cape of her dress is representing New York City skyline and the New York bomber jacket and all of that. So they did a good job of what they were supposed to do with the theme of the night. We had Frederick, I think it's Frederick Robertson. He's somebody from Switzerland. I was trying to figure out how he would go to the bathroom, how he even sat in a car. But then I remember that watching Megan Thee Stallion and a couple of them go into the event, they didn't sit. They were either standing in the subway cars or standing on the Sprinter vans that they took to the event. But I would still like to know how he went to the bathroom because I am just like, yeah, that's not, I don't know. And then you had Chloe and Kylie Jenner as well. So that was just a little bit of roundup on the Met Gala. That's the entertainment section for tonight. We're going to touch now onto the sports section. And I got to start with my Raptors. So, Diaper Genius. Diaper Genius. I don't know if I like that part. I don't know at all. Colleen, wait, it went from Facebook to YouTube, or you're watching from both, or what's the situation? Anyways, we're starting on our sports. As y'all know, my Raptors lost last week. So they're out of the playoffs. Needless to say, that last game was very physical. It was last Thursday. And, Oscar Flopper Embiid. Oh, you're watching on both. Okay. So Oscar Flopper Embiid got an accidental elbow to the face by Siakam. That accidental elbow ended up being an elbow, one that apparently Embiid broke a facial bone. So he's currently not playing in the playoffs right now. They claim that he may be out indefinitely. They're also stating that he may come back for game 3 depending on how the games are going. We don't know. We just have to see what happens. They're going to be in Philly on Saturday. Philly right now is down 0-2 to Miami. Raptors had a good run for the season. They overachieved for this season. They just have to make some adjustments. We need a good, strong center. We also need a 3-point specialist that can do a few little shots and stuff. So let's see what Bravo need the story of Daisy to continue. Part 2 is needed so he can sleep in peace. Khalid, tell Bravo that Daisy did not bring a part 2. Daisy stated what she stated and she went away. So I will put out the notice, and if Daisy come back, then we will see what happens with Daisy. So we're going to touch on, also staying with the Raptors, the LA Lakers have asked for permission to speak with Adrian Griffin, who is one of our assistant coaches. So we're not sure what's going to happen with that, but other teams are always wanting to poach Raptors coaches. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on to the Maple Leafs, game two was last night. They won the first game 5-0 against the Lightning, Tampa Bay Lightnings, and they lost 5-3 last night. So the series is now tied 1-1. So let's hope they bounce back tomorrow with a win and see what happens, because we can't have them flaming out in the first round. Toronto FC, they lost both their last two games to Cincinnati, because they played Cincinnati on Saturday. They also played Cincinnati on Wednesday, and they lost both games. Their next game is on Sunday against Vancouver. Let's hope they get back to winning, because they're now sitting ninth in the conference. There's only 14 teams in the conference. They can't be ninth because they won't be making it to the playoffs. And our Blue Jays, they just finished their game against the Cleveland Guardians, and they lost that game. They played the Yankees Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. So that was the first time that they lost a series. They're still second in their division behind the Yankees. We still have over 100 games to go. So, enough time for them to get to number one. So that's the sports roundup for this week. And we're going to now get into the news story of the week. So last week I had mentioned that the Jamaican police, specifically the Montego Bay police, had what's that word I'm trying to find? Can't remember the word. But anyways, during a traffic stop, they found somebody with some drugs and such, and as a follow-up to that traffic stop, they stumbled upon, it was almost US $5 million plus Canadian money plus Jamaican money, that added up to almost $800 million Jamaican. So as a continuation of that story, they've now named Presley Bingham, as otherwise called Pressa, as a person of interest. He's of a Torrado Drive address in the parish, and he's been urged to immediately report to the Narcotics Division in Kingston to facilitate further investigation. They've also confirmed that the person that they had arrested last week, that the person that they had stopped in the traffic stop, his name was Orwell Johnson, and he was a businessman, and he was a person that they caught last week with the drugs in the car, and his arrest led the cops to the other massive drug and cash seizure. So he was detained, and he was detained with 24 pounds of cocaine with a street value of $82.5 million that was allegedly found in the car that he was driving in the Coral Gardens area. And he's from Garden District in Westmoreland. And the charges were laid after he was interviewed by detectives in the presence of his attorneys. So that particular coke seizure led the cops to the house that was owned by Bingham, and where they found, they're stating now it's about $3.8 million US, 30,000 Canadian dollars, all adds up to a total of $592 million Jamaican. And additional coke was seized at that location as well. A female bartender was also arrested after she was allegedly held with a quantity of ganja during the secondary operation in St. Elizabeth. So enough things are going down there. Big monies, big drugs. I'm waiting to hear more about who else is going to be arrested in this, because there is no way that only these two people are gonna get arrested. I'm waiting to hear who else is who's gonna lose their 3 points as a result of this. Who else is gonna get called out and get arrested as a result of this? So it should be quite interesting, that story. So we're going to circle to the US. And, people always finding things to do with themselves. I didn't know that fox eye threading was a thing. Apparently, it is one of the hottest trending surgery trends of the moment. I actually had to go look to see what fox eye threading was and why people want it. So as you can see from the lady on the screen, and I'm going to touch on the story for a bit, but just, to highlight what's fox eye threaded. So if you can see the first picture with the lady on screen, her eyebrows are a little bit down. And she had the threading done, and now her eyes, so I guess it opens the eyelid a bit, gives you a different look. But I understand why people want that. But hey. Anyways, I stumbled on the story because apparently the guy on screen went on TikTok to state that people should not get fox eye threading because he almost lost his eye. Apparently, the procedure is non-surgical, but it involves using a barbed, dissolvable suture thread to pull the skin up and out. So a plastic surgeon will insert the thread. The barbs will catch onto the underside of the skin, and that's where it get that lifted look, and then the thread dissolves in your system. One man warned against it because he claimed that he nearly died because he got several infections from having this procedure done. He ended up with sepsis. He said it took him almost 6 months to get rid of the infection. It infected his eyes, the side of his face. His face was swollen. His eyes went puffy. He had black eyes. He ended up on a drip in a hospital. He had to be on antibiotics, on steroids, and the puffiness was not budging. So apparently no pus was coming out, all these other things, and I don't know. I don't know why or how or what the situation is. I don't know. Why the man go choose to go have, what you call it? Why him choose to go have fox eye threading something? But I understand. I don't understand at all. This not make sense. But everybody wants something done. Everybody want different things, and that's what he went to do, and almost lose him in life for it. But it is what it is. So we're gonna circle around to Florida, and this Florida family has been accused of brutally beating a gay man for dating one member of the family. So you had the father, Yevhen Makarenko, age 43, the mother, Inna Makarenko, age 44, son, Vladislav Makarenko, age 25, and they're all being held at the Broward County Jail. And then you have son and co-defendant Ole Makarenko, who apparently is the one that they're saying that was having the relationship with the victim. Now, they're not naming the victim because under a specific law called Marcy law in Florida, the victim can choose to not be named. However, the alleged defendants are named, and they're being charged with attempted murder in the first degree, kidnapping, burglary with assault, or battery arrest. And the charges are stemming from the fact that the victim is claiming that the youngest son, Ole, he had a relationship with the victim. Now, the victim is a male, and the male victim is claiming that Ole had a relationship with him, but the mother wanted Olay to have a relationship with a girl. Apparently, Olay left while Olay was still with the male victim. Olay went and had relationships with a female and got engaged to a female while still being with the male victim. The male victim came out, stated that him and Olay are in a relationship. The family did not want that to be known, so the family decided that they were going to try to kill him to prevent that from coming out. So they beat him and stuff like that. So apparently the male victim is now permanently blinded from the beating that he got. So this all started back in November 2020, and it went on into July 2021. And they're stating that that's when things kind of got out of hand because, you know, there was arguments and all of that kind of stuff. That's when the parent and the other brother discovered that the Olay was gay and in a relationship with a guy. And, you know, that's not what they wanted for their son. They wanted him to marry a woman. So they found a woman for him to marry. And, you know, and the fiance is claiming that her fiance, the fiancé is claiming that the fiance is not gay and that, you know, they're in a loving relationship and the family would never attack a man for being gay and all of that stuff. She came out saying she's wearing the ring. She's engagement and it's a one-of-a-kind ring and all of that and all of that kind of stuff. So we don't know what gonna happen. We'll just have to see how that plays out. But again, the victim is, you know, blinded and because he was really beaten badly and he, you know, he had brain swelling, he had a concussion and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. They're saying that the reason why he managed to survive was because he played dead. The family left him thinking he was dead and he remained on the blood-covered floor for about 13 hours. They found him because police found him because they were responding to an unrelated event at the apartment complex, found the door to his apartment ajar, and they went in. They saw him. When they asked him what had happened to him, he never told them at that point in time. It was after he got somewhat better months later, he told them what had happened. So, can't imagine them all kill people because... It's not the man make your son gay. Like, why are you going to kill somebody because your son gay? It's not the man make your son gay. I don't understand. Colleen says he will never get to see the beauty of his Olay anymore. They wanted a girl for him and he wanted a boy. Exactly. That's it. Hey, Princess, thanks for checking in. Serious thing that, yes, it is. It is a very serious thing. It's crazy. It's crazy, but I'm going to circle back to Jamaica. And I didn't know that this was still a thing. So for the past couple of weeks, students are being locked out of school because their hair is not deemed to be properly groomed. I know last week it was Kingston College, and that's the picture that's shown are of students from Kingston College that were reportedly locked out of school because of the length of their hair, because their hair was too high. Now, I am of the opinion that kids should go to school being well groomed. I'm also of the opinion that if you're going to school and the school has rules, order, and a uniform requirement, you should abide by said requirement. But can we get past the place where you're actually locking students out of school? Like somebody here, they want me look pan. Nothing wrong with them. It's not like it twine up or it bush up or whatever. Nothing wrong with that. Somebody hear me look on. What if the parent cannot afford to get the child hair cut every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks? Little growth out upon the penny them here. Little growth is going to be on the kids here. People just have come off of COVID. School just opened back. People not have all of this money. Everything gone up. Y'all see the price of gas and food and all of the, like, people not have money for cut hair as often as they normally would cut hair. But for you send your pitney go to school now and you lock gate for the, what the pitney them supposed to do? For go back home, go sit down because, you know, at least send them home with a warning letter, because that was not stated whether that was done or not. Send them home with a warning letter and with a letter telling the parent you need to have the hair cut by such and such a time, or then we are send them home. But you not have pitney show up to school and you lock the gate pan the kids them. That's but we do need to get past where here is an issue. Because last year, Brogard stated that school should stop discriminate against any student on any bias, and any bias included school grooming. He said, and that this came about because, again, there was a school that didn't want to take a kid because she had locks. So the schools need to get into the 21st or 22nd century with some of these things they have in school about the unit. Yes, you have to be groomed. Yes, you need order and all of those things. But some leeway, some update has to be made to the rule for the kids, for the hairstyle nowadays. Colleen said, bright, the teachers, bright. Very. And plus the parents pay school fee. The parents pay school fee and you send the kids home. And when school now keep school fee still have to pay. Because the teachers are still there teaching. Colleen said, I remember the case of the locks. Lindsay said, but some of these schoolmasters are living in a draconian era. Yes, there are rules, but as long as the hair is groomed, it shouldn't be such a big deal. Exactly. Because I saw the news report and I saw the video. And I look upon it and I said, but me not see nothing wrong with the pin of them ear. It's combed. Them ear groom. Me not see nothing wrong with it, but some of these teachers, let me tell you, they just go into teaching because it's the easiest thing they can get into. Because trust, some of these people who are teaching should not be teaching, and I say that with no apologies. Having been through the Jamaica school system, some of these teachers who are teaching, if you listen to them, and you follow for them advice, you reach nowhere in life, because they're not there to help you. They're there to make $1 and go home. Some of these teachers in the Jamaica school system. Lindsay said they need to concentrate on teaching. Exactly. Mind you, that nobody's saying teaching is easy, but there are some teachers that that's not what they should be doing. That should not be what they are doing. They should find something else. They should not be in a space to try to mold anybody's kids, because the things that they say to the kids and the things that they teach to the kids, if some pitney did listen to some teachers, some pitney, me, wouldn't reach anywhere. Wouldn't reach anywhere. But like I said, it's yeah, some teachers are just not what they should be at all. Haircut shouldn't be a priority. Teaching should be a priority. Haircut shouldn't be a priority. If the uniform is a way too short, too long, don't fit right, yes. Haircut, not in this day and age. So I'm going to leave Jamaica and I'm going to circle around to Houston. And a family is distraught after discovering their family member's bloody phone in the park after she reportedly went missing. So this 24-year-old girl, Felicia Johnson, went missing after leaving a local Houston strip club called the Cover Girls nightclub, which is where she was last seen. Now, she lives in California. However, she went to Houston to celebrate her birthday and make some extra money. So by making some extra money is that she went to dance at the club. They're stating that she called Uber. The Uber, it either didn't show up or it was late, or she didn't want to wait on the Uber, and she took a ride from an unidentified man. No. I feel sorry for the parent and for the family not knowing what happened to her. Feel sorry for her if she was killed or whatever, because nobody knows, because they can't find her. And I feel sorry for her family. And they found her cell phone with blood on it and everything else. But how can you be in a strange city and you're going to accept a ride from a strange man because your Uber was late? You wait for your Uber. At least if something happened to you, them can track the Uber driver. No, they don't know who you're gone with. They don't know where you are. They know nothing. And she's been missing since April 15th. With them, or May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, and nothing. The family has now hired a private detective to try to find her, or at least possibly find her body somewhere. They've had a vigil and all of that kind of stuff, but it's hard. It's hard. That they can't find her. It's sad for the family, very sad for the family. If you've just joined, say hey, say hi, say hello, share the live. Don't be shy. But we're going to circle around to British Virgin Island because this story was very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So the premier of the British Virgin Islands and the director of the territory's ports. So that would be like the director of the territory's ports would be like the person who around down a wharf at Jamaica where all of the ship them come in. Yes, that's that lady. And then the gentleman is the premier. So I'm not quite sure, remember how them systems set up, because they're still under British rule, even though they have their own constitution. But I guess he would be like the prime minister, similar to the prime minister. So they were both arrested on cocaine-related charges in Miami last Friday. The governor, who would be similar to the governor general in Jamaica, confirmed the arrest in a state. Apparently, both were arrested on charges of conspiring to import cocaine and money laundering. They were reportedly arrested after they met with undercover DEA agents posing as cocaine traffickers from the Sinaloa cartel. The officials reportedly went to the airport after the undercover agents offered them US $700,000 as a payoff for allowing the cartel's future cocaine shipments to pass through the British territory on the way to the US. So now, because of that situation and whatever else is happening in the country, they're claiming that it's there's some mismanagement of the country on a whole. In addition to that's happening, the UK is now considering suspending the constitution for about 2 years and directly rule the country until such times when they can put a new government in place and have that government running smoothly without corruption and mismanagement. Needless to say, the BVI peoples are not quite on board with that situation. So earlier this week, they had an island-wide protest against the UK taking over the island. So we got to see how that goes and all of that something. But I would let, even bro, God not that stupid. Say what you may about Jamaicans and them politicians. For you, for say you gotta take money for make drugs come in, and is but me not even know where to go with this. But never know. But them look like brother and sister, but it didn't state whether they were related or not. But them do look like they could be familial relations. But I don't know where to go with that. Because Dumb and Dumber is where we're at with these two right about now. That's stupid. Anyways, if there's a follow-up to this story, I'll let you guys know. Because as Lindsay said, oh, them so fool. Me not know. Because them willing to sell out them country. Them never say, okay, who no want try get things through the country. Get a few million, because it's not like it's gonna be a one-time thing with them. Get a few million. 700,000. If you're gonna be stupid, 700,000. Please. Circling around to Oklahoma. A woman is accused of calling a teenage Little Caesars employee racial slurs before slapping him across the face because the pizza joint was out of crazy bread. Rachel Sherman is facing criminal charges after slapping a 17-year-old Little Caesars employee after she ordered 2 pizzas and crazy bread. They didn't have any crazy bread, said Cal. Oh, sorry about that. My internet decided that it was going to go down. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me? Uh, I Okay, can you guys hear me? Yeah, my internet went out. Sometimes Rogers have a thing where him just decides to no internet and then it come back. So not much I could do about that, but I was here talking away, but glad that you can hear me again. Anyways. Yeah, so my lady decided that she was gonna slap the little pizza, the little boy at the pizza store because they had no crazy bread. Mind you, crazy breads are really nice. But me not gonna slap nobody for crazy bread. And then she had the audacity when she called the little boy effing N word, to ask him um if that hurt him. And when he said no, it didn't hurt him, she decided to slap him. You know, me no catch a case for my pitney for that. I was going to catch a case for my child for that because me not gonna play with you. Me not gonna play with you. Me definitely won't be playing with you on that at all. That's crazy. But it is. I She's been charged. She's been sent to jail. Well, she's been charged. She's out on bail. She can be imprisoned for up to 1 year and or a fine of up to $1,000 because they're going to be treating that as a hate crime. If it was just a regular minor misdemeanor, she would have gotten, she'd be looking at about 90 days or so. But because they're looking at it as a hate crime, they're she might can get up to a year and also pay a fine of up to $1,000. So it looked like the stream dropped on Facebook, but it's still going on YouTube. That's crazy. Yeah, it looked like it dropped on Facebook, but it's still going on YouTube. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna get back Facebook on this. Colleen, are you still able to see me on Facebook as well, or it's just YouTube now that you're able to see me on? That's crazy. Me and what you call it? Me and Rogers are gonna have issues, Me and Rogers definitely going to have issues because the people them mess up my things. The people them mess up my things. Oh, you can see me on Facebook as well. Okay. Alrighty. So I guess it is okay. Let's see what I'm going up in this. Let's see what I'm going up in this. Okay, so one. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Okay, so let's see what I go on. Where am I going from this? Oh, Japan. Me I go a Japan. This one. I learned a new word. So the word that I learned was fictosexual. FICTO sexual. Fictosexual. So a Japanese husband says his hologram wife no longer speaks to him and it's driving a wedge between him. Akiko Kandu began dating a fictional computer synthesized pop singer by the name of Hatsune Miku in 2008. The anime character was portrayed as a 16-year-old with turquoise hair. In 2018, Kondo. So 10 years after he, met her fictionally, he decided to take the relationship to the next level when he married Miku. The ceremony cost 2 million yen, which is about 17,300 USD. Thanks to Gatebox, a $1,300 system that allows device users to engage with characters via holograms, he was able to interact with Miku for the first time a year before they wed. So that would have been 2017. Alrighty, so sadly for Kondo, support for Gatebox software was discontinued, meaning that he can no longer speak to Miku, a factor that is driving a wedge between them. The 38-year-old admits that while the silence has caused some strain, he is still madly in love with Miku. My love for Miku hasn't changed, he confirmed. He confirmed. So, what is a fictosexual, you may ask? A fictosexual refers to an individual who is sexually attracted to a fictional character. Apparently, there are thousands of fictosexual people existing in Japan and have begun similar relationships with fictional characters. However, Kondo is one of the few who has taken things a step further by marrying his dream character. He even has an entire Instagram account dedicated to his wife. Like I said, I learned a new word. Fictosexual. I didn't know that was a thing. So sometimes when you see these people playing all them games, software games and all of them things, and they go into they stream into the virtual world of these softwares and of these games, they're living a whole life with these fictional characters. My man decided to spend 2 million yen to marry his ideal woman. Lindsay said them people have nothing better to do. Needless to say, I had a good chuckle today. So, fictosexual is the word of the week. All right? All right. So, even have movie based on the same. Yes. They enter these world and they're into the gaming and it's a whole thing and they spend all day. So I wonder, like, how would he cheat on his wife? And all of that. I'm going to move to Washington. I am going to go to Washington and well, that's how Colleen said, do you see how she's dressed? Wonder what is her occupation. They didn't state what her occupation is, but she's a fictional character she's dressed like what my daughter would call an anime character. So that's an anime character because my daughter is into Japanese anime and all of that stuff. So that's how they dress, and they will dress similar to it's like American comics where people dress up as the American superhero. They dress up as the Japanese characters. So the Japanese characters are called anime. Dressing up as an anime character means that you're cosplaying, you're costume playing. I got this daughter things for my daughter because that she volunteers every year at an anime convention where they do cosplay, and she knows that she's she learned that and all of that stuff. But I didn't know that people take it a step further by becoming fictosexuals. So he took it a step further. But yeah, my daughter taught me a little bit about Japanese cosplay and anime and all of that, the K-pop and the J-pop scene and all of that kind of stuff. But me, I forgot, I'm seeing her tomorrow, so me, I forgot to ask her about all this fictosexuals thing, because this whole thing took me for a whole other loop. But yeah, gonna circle around to Washington. So, a woman who allegedly confessed to putting her 2-month-old son's body in the trash after she claimed he died while he was sleeping has been killed. Ladonia Boggs, age 39, was allegedly stabbed to death inside of a Washington, D.C. apartment recently. Police responded to alerts of an incident in the area and found Boggs inside suffering from an apparent stab wound. She was declared dead at the scene and taken to the office of the chief medical examiner. Later, officers found and arrested Carl Jones, age 44, and charged him with second-degree murder while armed. Jones is the father of Boggs' missing child. Boggs' death comes almost a year after she was originally charged with felony murder in the presumed death of her son, Keon Jones. She allegedly was recorded saying he died in his sleep before she threw his body in the garbage. Keon was last seen alive on May 5th of last year, but wasn't reported missing until 2 days later. In May last year, the Charles City County Sheriff's Office said authorities were searching a Virginia landfill for the newborn. His remains have not yet been found. Boggs stated that her son died while sleeping in the bed with her. She claims that the last thing she remembered was that she had rolled over and he was on her chest. After that, when I was asleep, rolled over, noticed that he was unresponsive, not breathing, and she panicked. She then went on to detail how she disposed of his lifeless body, saying she wrapped it in a blanket before throwing it in the trash, per the video. She was later released without bond. She also told police that she had taken PCP before accidentally rolling over on the infant. Surveillance video showed Boggs taking a car seat, a plastic bag, and a cardboard box to a dumpster at her apartment complex. Prosecutors decided not to pursue murder charges, and she was instead charged with tampering with evidence and was awaiting trial. Then lady, you couldn't call 911. The woman just go dump out the pitney so like a garbage. You couldn't call 911, lady? I guess the father decides to take things into him own hand and say, you kill him pitney, I kill you back. Me can't even blame him. Me can't even blame the father. Lady, you could have did call 911. But man, we're going to circle around to Maryland. Now, imagine going away on vacation. Imagine coming home from vacation and finding not only that your house has been broken into, all your furnitures and the things in your house have been moved out, but there's strangers laying in the bed. In your bed, in your master bedroom. And the only reason why they were laying in the bed in the master bedroom was because they claimed that they liked the bed, so that, so they were living on the bed, but they got rid of all of your other furniture. Now imagine you being scared shitless and asking them to leave, and they're going to tell you no, they're not leaving, but they proceeded to tell you how they got into your home, proceeded to tell you what you needed to do to secure your home so that them and others cannot do the same to you. So that happened to a lady in Maryland. She returned home from her vacation to find two strangers parlaying in her bed in her apartment. On April 5th, she came back home. She found the front door to her apartment damaged. Her apartment was nearly empty and found two suspects, a man and a woman, lying in the bed. The suspects told the resident that they took all of their property with the exception of the bed because they really liked the bed. So about $50,000 in property was missing and is still unaccounted for. The apartment was fully furnished when the resident left for vacation on March 28th. And when they returned on April 5th, the apartment was partially empty because they liked the bed, so they kept the bed. The male suspect became aggressive when the resident attempted to call the police and he wouldn't allow her to leave. So in a state of complete shock, the woman told them to get their belongings and leave. And yeah, I saw the video and they were very nonchalant about leaving. It's like they're at home, taking their own time, slowly getting out of bed. And I'm like, you know, and she was there calmly going, "What are you doing in my house?" You know, that would not be a Jamaican. The suspects eventually left, but not before offering the woman a tutorial of how they were able to get into her house. They told the woman that they planned to do this again at another apartment. The only good news about this is that the apartment complex has agreed to let the resident out of her lease because they obviously aren't providing safe housing. Like I said, it didn't happen to a Jamaican because there would have been some screaming, some shouting, some fighting, some licking, some biting, some. But me not come home off a vacation and see people and be, "What are you doing in my house? What are you doing?" No. So, gonna circle around to Australia. So 3 decades after a U.S. man by the name of Scott Johnson's body was found at the base of the cliffs in Sydney, his killer has been sentenced to jail. Scott White was on Tuesday sentenced to a maximum of 12 years and 7 months in jail for the then 27-year-old murder. So he killed him 30 years ago. At the time, the Cambridge University graduate death was ruled as a suicide. However, his family never did believe that it was for suicide and has for the past 30 years fought to get the Australian police to investigate it as a gay hate crime instead, because the judge in the case found that there was not enough evidence to establish that it was a gay hate crime, but did sentence him to jail for the 1988 killing. He will be eligible for parole in 2030. So by then he would have served 8 years of the 12 years. And he didn't give any evidence in court. He told the court that he met Johnson in a bar. And there's this place in Australia that was popular at the time for gay people to go to. And that's where they went. Him and him had a fight and hit him and he fell. And Johnson fell off the cliff and died. The judge found that Johnson was hit without provocation. And a part of what led to this guy being charged and arrested is that his ex-wife told the court that he told her that he bragged about killing the guy. However, she didn't come forward until about 2018 or 2019 after the Australian police offered up $1 million Australian dollars in cash reward for information leading to the arrest of this. And the family doubled the cash reward from $1 million to $2 million. That's when White's ex-wife came forward stating that when she heard about the case and she put it together, stating that it could have been her ex-husband because he often bragged about killing young gay man. That's when she came forward. He was arrested. Da 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 da. Went to court. All of this situation. He admitted to police that, he killed this particular guy, and now he's going to jail for 12 years and will be able to come up for parole in 8 years. And Lindsay said she didn't call the police. No, she did not in the moment. She called the police after the people who were in her apartment left. Because I watched the video, and the video is basically her asking them, what is she doing in her home? What is she doing in her home? And they're nonchalantly packing up their stuff, getting out of the bed and packing up their stuff and leaving. So in the moment, while she was getting them to leave her home, she didn't call the police. She didn't call the police in the moment. So if you just joined, say hi. Hey, Chucky. Hey, Bridget. Say hello. Say hi. So we're going to circle around to Connecticut, and a 6-year-old Connecticut boy who suffered severe facial burns when the neighborhood bully allegedly threw a flaming tennis ball at him was released from hospital this past Monday. So Dominic Crankle was escorted back to his Bridgeport home by Connecticut State Trooper without a full mask of gauze covering his face. His family said they're beyond grateful to have him back. He was playing in his backyard on April 24th when an 8-year-old, so he's 6, an 8-year-old armed with gasoline and a lighter lured him around the corner and attacked him. What the 8-year-old did was pour gasoline on a tennis ball, took the lighter, lit the tennis ball, and chucked it right at his face, and then ran away and watched him burn. Apparently, the older child has a history of bullying the younger child, and nobody's done anything about it. The bully's mom apparently also saw her son picking on and beating up the 6-year-old and did nothing about it, and all of that stuff. And even after this incident where the 6-year-old boy got burnt in the face, she still refuses to admit that her son did it. She's stating that it wasn't her son and all of that. So he spent many days in the hospital. There were times when he could only eat from a straw, as his face was fully covered in the bandages and stuff. So 1, glad that he's out. 2, glad that he's doing better. 3, that 8-year-old needs to go to jail. And it's not in Canada where you can't charge an 8-year-old. In the US and in some states in the US, you can charge an 8-year-old. You can send them to juvie hall and all of that thing. So if he has the wherewithal to do that at 8 years old, I don't know what he will progress to and what he will do the older he gets. So he needs to get checked right now. So we're going to stay in the USA, and there's a lot of uproar with regards to a situation happening right now with Roe versus Wade in the US. So Roe v. Wade is it's basically their abortion bill. And that was settled 50 years ago, where it made it legal for women to be able to get legal abortions. The Republican Party has been fighting that for the past 50 years. Their Supreme Court was supposed to be coming back with updated judgment, because again, they've been fighting it, coming up with different ways of how to get rid of it. A document was released to Politico Monday evening, stating that the Supreme Court is going to vote in June to strike down to strike down the Roe versus Wade law, and their reasoning is that the courts shouldn't the court shouldn't be the one to legislate whether women get abortion or not. The Supreme Court shouldn't be. It should be left up to the states. So now they're stating that the documents is the document leaked is authentic. They're also calling for an investigation as to who leaked the document, and all kinds of stuff. So I foresee that there'll be various demonstrations in the U.S. over the next couple of months. They're claiming that it's not finalized how they will be voting, but according to the document, they were doing their summary, and what their summary outlines is how they've already voted, the reason why they voted the way they're voting, and that's where they were at. So the vote is already, they're saying that, people could change their mind and whatever, and they may very well change their mind now that it's out and how people are reacting to it. But they'd already did their voting. They'd already made up their minds, and they were already, writing the report as to how they were going to progress. So we don't know how that's going to go. It's already, I know Louisiana recently is putting into law that any abortion done after 6 weeks, people can be charged. I know Texas has one in place. I think theirs is you can't have an abortion at all. I know Florida is doing some stuff. So it's pitchy patchy. I know they have a way of putting laws into place. So they're looking at that and seeing how they can codify it into law, bypassing the Supreme Court. So we'll see how that goes. But lots of things happening with that. So it should be interesting over the next couple of months to see what happened with that. Remember that the U.S., they're doing their they have a vote in September. The U.S. U.S. have election every 2 years. So there's voting in November. So we'll see how that goes as well. So we're going to circle around to Louisiana, where a grandmother allegedly forced a 4-year-old girl to finish a bottle of whiskey while the mother did nothing to stop it. So Chyna Record, age 4, died at the scene. Her grandmother, Roxanne Record, and age 53, and mother Kaja Record, age 28, were arrested for first-degree murder. Cops were dispatched to Wally Street on last Thursday at about 10:50 a.m. about an unresponsive child. During the course of the investigation, detectives learned that the victim's grandmother forced her to consume a bottle of whiskey while the mother watched. Officers said they believe that this is what killed Chyna. When she died, she had a blood alcohol content of 0.68. The blood alcohol content limit in Louisiana for adults who drive with alcohol in their system is 0.08. Now, what led the grandmother to force the child to drink off the bottle of whiskey is because they think, they're not sure, they didn't see for sure, they think the child might have drunk some of the whiskey from the counter. So then, because of that, she got upset. She had the little child kneel down in the hallway and had the little child drink the rest of the whiskey. They're saying that the whiskey bottle was almost full. They're also saying that the mother did nothing to stop the grandmother from forcing the child to drink the full bottle of liquor. She's saying that her mother left the kitchen with the liquor, and when she came back, the bottle was empty. She said when she saw her daughter unresponsive, that is when she decided to call police. And she's saying that she went too far and all of that. I don't, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm gonna move on to Tennessee. Cause me can't wrap my head around this particular situation in Louisiana, but in Tennessee, and I think they should bring this law to Ontario because I quite agree with this one. A Tennessee bill that would require drunk drivers to pay child support if they kill a parent due to intoxication or aggravated vehicular homicide has passed. House Bill 1834 would require a person who is convicted of vehicular homicide to pay restitution in the form of child maintenance if their victim was the parent of a minor child. Each child of the victim would receive this restitution until they reach 18 years old and graduate high school. The payments would be similar to traditional child support, in which a parent pays the primary caregiver of the child until that child becomes a legal adult at the age of 18. The amount of the payments would be determined by the financial needs and resources of the child and their surviving parent or guardian, including the state, if the child is in custody of the Department of Children's Services, also similar to traditional child support. The standard of living the child is accustomed to will also be a factor in determining the amount of the payments. If the defendant is incarcerated and unable to pay the required child maintenance, they have 1 year after their release from incarceration to begin paying. And they're going to be amending the bill to rename it to the Ethan, Haley, and Bentley's Law. Those are the children of Nicholas Gallinger, who was a 38-year-old Tennessee police officer when he was killed by Janet Hines, who was intoxicated when she hit him with her car in 2019. In February 2022, Hines was sentenced to 11 years in prison for the fatal hit and run. I fully agree with this particular law. It's something that they should consider in Ontario because when drunk drivers hit and kill people, they should be the one responsible for taking care of those people's kids. I saw that happen. That was there was a drunk driving case a few years ago where the guy Russo, I think it was Russo. Yes, where he got sentenced to 10 years, and he actually ended up paying the family money. But that was a special situation. But I think that that should be a law that they should pass in Ontario. So I'm going to circle around to Texas. And a Texas man is being held on a $2 million bond after allegedly shooting and killing his girlfriend, 16-year-old daughter. Van Henry Bisbon, age 60, of Humble, was arrested and charged with murder in connection with the death of high school student Lauren Juma of Humble. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said in a statement. Early Friday morning, just after 1 a.m., a young woman called 911 and said her mother's boyfriend was holding her 16-year-old sister captive at gunpoint inside their home. Lauren's mother was out of town for work at the time when the teen reached out to her, begging her to save her. The mother said, "My baby called me, FaceTime me, and she said, 'Mom, help me.' That's the last time I heard her voice." Lauren also called her sister and saying she just wanted to get away. She just said he was being really weird and wanted me to pick her up. Um, when the sister called the deputies who arrived on the scene heard gunshots as they approached the front door. Brisbane then exited the front door and was taken into custody, but was not cooperative with investigators. Inside the home, they found Lauren dead from gunshot wounds, he said. Lauren and Brisbane were the only two people inside the residence at the time of the murder. A motive for murder is unknown at the time, but in Brisbane's first appearance in court on Monday, the judge and others heard disturbing details of the high school cheerleader's last moment, based on the evidence found at the scene. Investigators believe she was raped before she was killed, because deputies found her with her pants down to her knees and with multiple gunshot wounds. Brisbane's pants was also down when deputies arrested him, according to court records. On Monday, the judge raised Brisbane's bond to $2 million, increasing it from the $1 million bond the probation and with a probable cause court judge had set for him over the weekend after his arrest. Apparently, Lauren's mother had been in a relationship with Brisbane for 5 years and is shocked that he allegedly killed her daughter. He had always treated Lauren like she was his baby. So he would have been with the mother since Lauren was 11. The question to ask would be, how long has he been molesting her? Or I doubt that this is a one-time thing. But yeah, you just don't know who you're bringing into your house. Anyways, we're going to circle around to Alabama. And corrections officer, Miss White, has decided to help an inmate, Mr. White, they're not related, escape from jail. So apparently a corrections officer at an Alabama jail was having a romantic relationship with a murder suspect who recently escaped from the facility, allegedly with the guards' help. Since Friday, officials have been searching for both the inmate, 38-year-old Casey Cole White, and the corrections officer, Vicky White, age 56. The pair are not related. After the Whites left the Lauderdale County Detention Center together, ostensibly bound for a court hearing, and vanished, inmates told investigators that the pair were having a romance. The escaped inmate was charged with 2 counts of capital murder in September 2020 in the stabbing death of Connie Ridgway, age 58, and was already serving a 75-year-old sentence for a 2015 crime spree in which he was convicted of shooting a person and a dog. Vicky White, who had a special relationship with the suspect, absconded with the inmate after saying she was taking him to a mental health evaluation that turned out to be non-existent. She is wanted for permitting or facilitating escape in the first degree. An ex-girlfriend of the murder accused is now freaking out because she claimed that he had promised to kill her before going to jail, and now that he's on the loose, she's freaking out that he may actually come back and try to kill her. So now they're looking for both parties, both the corrections officer and the inmate. They're saying that the inmate is very distinctive because of his height and weight. I think they said that he's either 6'5" or 6'9", so very tall and heavy set. I think they, if I recall, they said he's weighing about 290 pounds. So he really doesn't blend in. He really doesn't blend into the crowd and stuff. So, but I would like to know. And apparently, the corrections officer sold her home for $100,000, cashed out all of that money, so they have that cash on hand, right? And she closed out her bank account and all these other things. That day was also her last day of work because she was retiring from work. And she had submitted her pension papers. Now, as a government worker in the US working in the court system for a while, I'm sure her pension would have been a nice little something where she could have, retire upon and find a guy outside. But she now decides she's going to help an inmate escape, jeopardize her life, jeopardize her freedom, because they are going to find him. They're going to find her. Let's hope that when they find her, she's still alive. She is going to go to jail. So she will not have a house because she sold it. If she still have any money left and if she's still alive, what is she going to do? They're going to arrest her. They are going to lock her up. So, it is called love. Okay, Bobby. I understand it's called love. But the first love is to love yourself. And if she loved herself, there is no way she could have loved herself and go do that to herself. Like, you don't look beyond for no say you are going to go back, you are going to go to jail. Me not love myself that much. Where me I put his love above me loving myself. No. Let's hope she survives. Let's hope he doesn't kill her. Let's hope she surviving for her to go to jail would be the best thing that can happen to her right now. Because he may just kill her and take the money. He may just kill her and take the money. And then what? So for her sake, let's hope that when they're caught, she's alive and is able to, go to jail. And that's where she'll spend her retirement years. She'll be in the female jail and he'll be in the male jail. Sucks to be her. But we're going to circle around to Canada with this particular story. So the investigators are asking the police to help identify the remains of a little girl discovered in a construction site dumpster, and it's a Toronto police, because this was reported by the Toronto police earlier today. So Inspector Hank Idzinga of the Homicide Division and Missing Persons Unit is working closely with 53 Division and the Child and Youth Advocacy Center on the investigation. This data, it's I don't even know where to go with that. They stated that the little girl is probably about 3 or 4. No, but they said that she's between the ages of 4 and 7. They've highlighted the cloths that they found her wrapped in. They're stating that she might have been dead since fall 2021 or even earlier. She is a Black child or of mixed African descent. And they've identified how her hair was combed in 4 short ponytail and all of that kind of stuff, and she was covered in the crochet blanket inside a plastic bag that was wrapped in another colorful blanket. So they were called to a residential area that was under construction on Dale Avenue, where the remains were found by construction workers. I'm trying to figure out a 4-year-old, 4 to 7-year-old. So that means she would have been in school or starting school. So that means there is a family out there missing a 4-year-old girl. And nobody asked the mother, where's the child? Nobody asked the father, where's the child? How is it that this child has been missing within the family unit And nobody, no family member went to the police and said, hey, my niece is missing, my granddaughter is missing, or this, is there not a teacher kindergarten? So again, depending on when she went missing, if she went missing before September, then she would not have been in school in kindergarten. So, teachers wouldn't have known to say she's missing. But within the family unit, a grandmother is missing a grandchild, an aunt or an uncle is missing a niece, and nobody reported that that child is missing. That, and then for the parent to, whoever did it, to dump her in the garbage, like, I don't understand the fact. I mean, it's sad enough that she was killed, and it's sad enough that she was dumped like garbage. But the more sad part about it is the fact that no other family member reported her missing. No family member report that, you know what, my niece isn't coming around anymore or whatever. No, nobody report her missing. That part for me is the most egregious part of the whole situation, is that nobody reported her missing. Nobody is missing her. And that part is the sad part for me. So that's where we're going to end tonight's broadcast. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for commenting. See you next Thursday, same time, same place, doing the same thing with more interesting stories. And I'm going to see if I find any more fictile sexual males out there or any of that nature. So have a good night. See you next week.